Yeah, I've been thinking a lot because obviously shit's just appearing around me, like whatever I think. Like, obviously, they're not actors, and that's really happening to some extent. And so I've noticed for like, I don't know, 10, 15 years that Americans got all super obese, Jabba the Hutt sized, largely around the time I got a widescreen TV, which was before other people did and the format was available. So what was happening was it was like stretching out the image of everything on of every person I seen, and it's largely like all I seen too, because I'm not going out there, and and when I do, anyways, it's like late at night or to the country or something. So, um, for like years there, I all I seen was like extra large sizes of humans that were unrealistically stretched the fuck out. But so I've been thinking about that for like since 2020. Like everything like really came in 2020 in like a blink of an eye. Like the second like the humans went all like haywire bots, I realized like, oh shit, this is like really fucking happening. And I've just been testing it since then. So for the most part, like I was like, there's one of two things happening, and it's definitely happening. So um, I'd instantly like thought about like everything, and then one of those things was like, oh shit, the humans got all fucking the Americans, because I went to other places and they weren't that way. But the Americans got all like Jabba the Hutt size in like the year following. Um, I bought the first 1080i widescreen TV because 1080p wasn't available the first year that widescreen high def for standard consumers was available. And so you had to get 1080i. So obviously, I'm not making that up that I had that when that first came out. And then that's like, well, it was what, 90, 99, 2000 or something. It was before 9/11. Pretty sure. I don't know. I forget what TV I seen that shit on. That's another one of those things that magically appear when I look at the TV too, 9/11, because it's like I don't watch TV. That was around the time I turned that off, and it just somehow happens to come on when I fucking like turn on the TV before I can turn it to something of value, and somehow the news is on. I guess the news probably interrupted every fucking TV show of 2% of value that day, was its fucking 0% of value or something. Fucking, and you get forced to watch that instead of a good show like Jerry Springer, a good wholesome family show and shit. Getting interrupted by that stupid news about fucking hillbillies. Fucking, and then, so I've been thinking about that for a minute. Like, yeah, like you know, it's kind of obvious this is happening. I mean, I go somewhere and like a whole new band appears, and they're creating it with like a 6-year backstory, and it's like that's explainable as in like set up, and until it's like a movie like Matrix 4 that's like showing me what I just was recording on video 5 minutes before I walked into the theater, and what I was doing while I was in the theater actually. So both of them, and like all that shit clicked together at once and stuff. And I was like, damn, that happened that way. But I was also realizing, like, the other day, like, I'm not sure if it's due to that or if it's, like, due to curses. You know, like, when you fuck with me, like, that shit happens. Like, the COVID was them doing that shit to me before they did it to themselves. And 9/11 was like parallel, not near as parallel as COVID, but it was, you know, obviously if COVID happens that way, then sure the fuck 9/11 was like just like a triple blessing from God and shit. I had already knew that to begin with, but I didn't know it had anything to do with anything around me. And fucking so like I don't know, like maybe that's just like the basics as I watched the wide format, and now like I'm inventing fucking disfigured humans and shit. That's probably the basics of it, because that does happen, you know, like if I prepped the day before and created new humans by focusing on images of certain people. Like I live in this city, and that doesn't like really make sense that I'm going to accept that. I'm not going to, because like I live in this city of fucking like inbred hillbilly preppies, fucking mixed with actual city folk, and then kind of like filters it out to like the worst of both of those people, like lazy city people trying to avoid doing something, and dumb hillbillies thinking they can move to a city and be lazy fucks instead of doing hard country work, which is weird because that's like entirely the opposite of me or my father. So you know, like I'm not like actively creating this shit, and it's weird as fuck. I can like focus on creating something of value, and sometimes it appears. It's like that took like fucking 30 or 40 years. Yeah. There was like one person way back in the day, and you know, to be honest, a lot of times when people come to me, they have a rat on their shoulders. And, well, I don't ask people to come with rats on their shoulders, so, and these days I actually require that that's not happening. So, you know, am I creating shit, or do we have like, you know, computer bots fucking out there doing some shit, evil demons doing some shit? Fucking definitely leaning towards the latter there. Obviously, we got a lot of evil demons. We start with the pedo rape rituals and shit. Those fuckers are using my image to fucking deceive me, apparently. I mean, I'm inventing a small portion of the people, as they claim. You know, I'm doing a lot of shit they claim they're fucking, but, I mean, and then when it generates them, they're like, but anyways, fucking so I kind of officially accept that some of this is going on. Obviously, there's a portion of this ignorance that the humans are up to that is actually going on around me. And so I had said the other day that only one person I know who like fucked with me really bad turned me, like, evolved into a Jabba the Hutt. And I was so incorrect, because every person of that type who I can remember devolved into a Jabba the Hutt. Like, there was a person I looked up from my past who, like, I don't consider, I can't, like, prove that they were, like, sent to destroy or something like that. And, as far as I know, they didn't get too fucking supersized. But I was, so that person's visuals didn't change from me watching widescreen TV. But I do notice that happens. Like if I stare at a picture, like when I stared at a picture one day, it pulled forth a human who doesn't look like people from my city. Like my city, or like if you start to design a video game and you design it so they can't evolve, or you can't redo the art. You know, like when I'm a toddler drawing art, I'm making scribbles and shit like that, you know what I'm saying? When I'm a toddler, maybe not everyone's that way, but like I had to start out when doing art. I make like horrible scribbles and shit. And I pretty much gave up on art because of that until I got older. And I mean, I don't even fucking like art anyways, so why waste my time? But I'm grateful that the humans could fucking force me in a direction where I get to waste my time doing art, fucking and actually learning how to do it right rather than anything I want to do. Fucking such gracious hosts or bots controlled by some demon host. I think that's probably more accurate to what appears to be going on. But yeah, so like when I'm a kid, if I'm inventing this city, then that might explain the artwork. But at the same time, you know, that's the same way with game design too. When you're first developing like a game, like it, you know, it's gonna be like Pong, you know, Atari. It's gonna be like Atari graphics and playability, or you just press one button and you're like boop, 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 boop. And now we got these video games where you have like 300 keys and, you know, definitely not Pong graphics. And kind of like, I mean, like watching all this shit, every single fucking media form from me since my birth evolved from as basic caveman Neanderthal shit. Even though like supposedly the radio came out before, when I was born, the radio, I was still listening to caveman Neanderthal shit because that's what old people listen to, right? Old people and people with tits. Fucking, so that's the game's excuse anyways, right? Fucking, I mean, I don't blame humans for how they act. I blame the computer fucking for having a shitty fucking pool when it generates them and shit. Fucking, obviously I probably shouldn't be blaming the shit race who largely puts in control of this shit on the planet, but hey, those are probably just early bot models, as far as I can tell. I'm guessing that's got something to do with it. So that might explain why the city I'm in, although it's never like got an update. Like the one time it sent someone I would talk to, fucking, and it still wasn't too happy. I don't like breeders. That's like fucking like pedophiles to me and shit. Fucking, a whore, fucking, can't fucking keep her dick in her pants and shit. Fucking, that's just a prostitute, fucking breeder, fucking, that's worse. I mean, a prostitute doesn't have to get pregnant, right? I'd prefer if they get cancer and reproductive organs removed. Something like that, right? That's actually a better fucking scenario. Like, we have these repeat patterns in my life here, and that's probably because they have always got the monkey on their shoulder, the crack cocaine monkey from Israel. Probably has something to do with that. But yeah, so I guess I might be thinking that these people are like, Atari, and then as the creation continued, that it's upgraded the bots to in other places, because for some reason it's been bringing people from other places. It's been having to invent humans in other fucking sections of the world and bring them to me since forever. Like I don't think I've ever dated anyone in this city. I can't recall if I actually dated someone, and can't recall seeing anyone who I was around in this city more than a fucking couple days or some shit. And they all just disappeared into the wind too. And so the first person I remember meeting fucking is like a doctor or nurse or some shit now, fucking with one of the rap people, fucking which that whole story, like, it puts the rat people on notice for the rest of their life and shit. Fucking they obviously look sus and shit. And it's odd, the rat people look like the first devil in my life too. Like, I mean, it could just be because they're the devil people, but it could be because when it's creating fucking the evil people, that it's taking the image of the fucking first evil person I fucking met and shit, who turned into a Jabba the Hutt later. Fucking, and that person turned into a Jabba the Hutt around that time where I got the widescreen TV too. They weren't always a complete Jabba the Hutt, but they definitely supersized around that time and shit, which is odd. Also, they brought out that movie Super Size Me around that fucking time. Fucking which is like how the world works around me. Like, the music and the movies will be generated not just around my thoughts, but around like the events happening around me, even the ones I don't want. Fucking, I don't even give a shit about fucking stupid dog tricks. Dogs are a pretty fucking dirty animal, and nice to dogs because they're not anywhere near as bad as humans, but they're in general pretty fucking dirty animal. Shit, my dogs were fucking pretty clean. Generally they aren't, and I mean, they still are dogs. So the one wanted to live outside, and it was still clean, but it's like, I mean, how clean are you gonna be if you live outside fucking and you don't take showers and shit? It looked white somehow. I think that's the magic of the video game. It can do some shit like that. And it might have something to do with like how things are being invented, why certain things are unclean and certain things aren't. Like if it creates an evil character, it might bring uncleanliness, like vicious animals around it, or usually when it creates one of those, it brings a scared animal around it to, it like identifies that this animal is around something it's scared of and shit. Fucking, the dog's response generally will symbolize what's around the area and shit. But yeah, so I was thinking about that since 2020, really. Kind of non-point, because I had to watch it happen a lot to see it. But at first I was just thinking that maybe it changed the way they look because I got that TV, and then now every person I think of and imagine is like weird fucking extendo shape and shit. I was already experiencing a couple people like that in my life. I remember one person anyways. And then the one was already like growing exponentially as the years went on. But I do notice that that didn't happen to everyone. But like, I think I said like mistakenly, like I've only seen that happen to one person where they evolve into Jabba the Hutt, so we can't just sit around and wait for slothism and gluttony to save the day and shit. Fucking but I was incorrect because I simply didn't think of the other two people of that category who would rank high up there on the fucking devil list and shit. And all three, the top three contenders in that classification, I think, you know what, the top four contenders, top four, I'm pretty sure the fourth one, yeah, like, I didn't even consider that person fucking evil because I didn't, like, realize just, like, how sick that is when people try to get you to have sex with their family members and shit like that, like, because I'm so used to such sick humans that that doesn't rank on the fucking list, even when I'm a child and shit. Like, that's kind of just like standard for shit like that to happen in my life, and I should expect it for some reason. Fucking I mean, shit. Even these days, I'm just so used to it. Like, if it was like a girl who brought their mother instead of their brother or their father, I'd just be like, well, this is like standard and shit. Fucking and acceptable. Fucking probably not fucking stay around too long, but definitely would, take it as different. Just like when I was a kid, it's just like, oh, I guess this is how humans act, because you're like slowly being escalated into a world where they bring that shit forth and stuff. And I guess the odd thing is also about the humans changing. You got to realize, like, the TV programming seems to be there partially. Like, the program itself seems to be there to program dumb shit. Like this agenda they bring forth there. Fucking which leads to people thinking it's acceptable for you to have sex with their brother and them at the same time. Fucking yeah, like, that seems to be like something that would come with that. So it kind of makes me wonder if that weren't quite invented by someone else, because I never would have been like, hey, you know what, let's invent an incomplete TV, and that's all weird and distorted and shit. Fucking, but it did that. And they put that out, and we know who's in charge of that. The rat on people's shoulder would own most of the tech, right? And definitely owns the media these days. And obviously always has, because they take credit for writing the first book, which means they own the world's first printing presses, and here we are 6,000 years later, and they still own the printing presses. So, and they're still writing filth. And the first book, they were fucking writing about fucking pedophile fucking activities and genocide and fucking shit like that. Fucking mutilating kids and killing, how good it is they mutilate kids and why they should kill everyone else. Not even, yeah, I guess there's a few hokey dokey stories why they should kill everyone else who mutilate kids and not themselves. So yeah, that's the world's first media. If you think the media had ever changed, you know, like people are like, oh, the media is stupid. Like I seen some on TikTok, and TikTok is stupid as hell. But it's like, oh, when has media not been stupid as hell? I had this Howdy Doody show when I was a kid. Or not when I was a kid, when old people, when dead people were kids. And it was stupid. And then that Talking Horse when I was a kid. And I was like, stupid. And basically they're saying it's filthy because people say the word fuck or something. That's the only thing they really had evidence of change, because those people are dead now, so they don't have any evidence of it, and they don't have anything now. They don't have evidence. They don't have a voice anymore. So some kid was like saying, I'm weird because I was raised up on this trash, and you can see like the media did invent like a bunch of retarded shit where it was just like a fried crackhead making some shit, but it wasn't really much different. I mean, what do you smoke to come up with talking horses and fucking hillbilly programming, fucking from the old days? And yeah, I don't even know half the shit that was on TV back then. But I don't know if the soap operas were dumber. But you can also tell that they're also running out of ideas. Like, they can't repeat the same thing over and over, so they add a little stupid something extra to it. And we're at this point where they got multi-dimensions because they have no fucking ideas. They're completely drained of the last idea. They can't even change someone's outfit from blue to pink to make it look original because they've already done that. So they're like, ooh, there's a new dimension and shit, fucking. And it's like, yeah, okay. But it's not really dumber than it used to be, necessarily. Like, it's not like, yeah, the kids shit used to be more educational than I used to see. And yeah, it definitely looks full on retard, but there's still Dora the Explorer and shit. And, whatever the fuck that is, it looks like it'd be something like the shit they used to have on TV back in the day. And it's definitely designed, supposedly that's designed for other people also, and not Americans, or the people who are on American soil. Fucking, so you link that together, that they got some shit going on in their propaganda, and then so the actual TVs they're selling might have something to do with that, where which would probably be fitting of their people anyways. That would, as far as I can assume, like their people would have always been like the fat offendies, you know, the Huts. Like, that's my new name for them. It doesn't really clue anyone into anything, like saying half their name or some shit, but I mean, it's accurate. So I think the Huts is like the best fucking name I can, the most accurate thing I can think of and shit. And sitting around like the monkey on the shoulder. That's what the fucking Jabba the Hutt is to Leia and shit. It's a fucking the crack monkey on her shoulder and shit. Fucking. So And then obviously we have this point in time where the whole society shifted over to hut size. But we might assume that those people have always been the hut size because they've always been, when food was a scarce resource, they were the ones who could afford printing presses. So obviously they have food. They've had food since they had people carry them around in fucking golden fucking chairs through the desert and stuff. And anyways, so a little bit off topic, but that, you know, pretty much talking about where that would come from, where the TV would come from, where it would be a distorted size to create a distorted reality like that. And you can tell the programming they put out, like, obviously that would have some sort of fucking effect on creation of the world around me and shit if I watch any of it. One reason why I try not to. But, you know, another thing is we had Jerry Springer back in the day. That was like, it was just like trash. Like, they just went around finding like trash and fucking, it's not much different than a cartoon that is just like trash. It was like fucking, like, all sorts of trash, like, you know, inbred hillbillies fucking their families and shit like that. Fucking, and having to break up with their cousin wife because their father is their new lover. Something like that. I mean, like, I don't see how you're gonna get much trashier than that. And I mean, that dude ends up becoming mayor of America, right? So the person inventing that show is like in the government. That's who runs. I think that's Cleveland right up here. He had ran fucking. And Cleveland turned into a fucking shithole, supposedly. I've not been there but a couple times, and I'm that interesting person. For some reason, all the people I tend to meet are from somewhere else. I think that might have to do with like the starter city being like the Atari first design or something. And incompatibilities with evolution, with actual living evolution, whereas I'm not sure if things around me can evolve. You know, like once created, can the city evolve? Or do we have to go somewhere to create a new fucking city? Because it works. It works fucking wonders if I go somewhere. It could be just having the memory that once existed fucking makes it permanent. But it's hard to erase the memory of living beings, and like as easy as to do the COVID mind wipe to whatever is actually out there. So I've tried, and they've tried, and I assume that's what marijuana is for, is to erase your fucking mind and shit. Probably brought forth by the rat people for bad intentions, but it's effective for that purpose and shit. Fucking. But anyways, I've been noticing that whole change. And then if there's other living beings who are participating in thought creation, then that would also coincide with the creation of the widescreen distorted view, where before widescreen media there's widescreen TVs distorting the human, what the human shape looked like. So I was wrong on that first thing. That's the first time I really thought of that, about it looking futile if the world's using fucking Jabba the Hutt syndrome, slothism and gluttony as a battle axe versus the enemy. I was wrong because I had thought, I was like, oh, we got one person fucking chopped down with it and shit, cursed with it, who would be like near the top of the fucking list. But it's like, I think all 4 people who lasted long enough to become a memory and did shit like, try to have fucking family orgies and shit like that. I think all 4 of those people at the top turned into that. And again, I don't even know if that's like that happening or the curse, but it did all happen around that time where the widescreen was invented. And or if it was just their personality type, taking hold, because it's really about discussing still how the rat people are like, you can't judge a book by its cover, yet everyone who goes to the fucking bookstore fucking does exactly that. So people who actually read books do judge a book by its cover. And I'm sure the only reason they created the Bible without like some cutesy artwork is because it was the first book. They didn't have cutesy artwork back then. And they're saving pennies. These are people selling a book to propagate people that costs 10 cents to make for $50 to pay their fake lawyer fees, like Donald Trump and shit, and go buy some crack cocaine like Donald Trump and Joe Biden do. Printing color pictures on the front of that book would be pretty detrimental to the scheme and scams that book is used to promote, or any religion that they've created for that matter. But that's obviously the world's largest one. Everyone knows you gotta go to church on Sunday and give your money to Caesar, give your money to the Italians, and so to Israel Italianos, fucking whatever the Napsters are, right? Obviously there's something else from somewhere else, because no one wants them either in fucking the Middle East either. And besides, they use that pyramid, so obviously that's not their route. But we can definitely chase them through these places and find their genetic markers laid out, and follow the path back from whence they first came on the planet, and somewhere there around Egypt, as far back as, obviously, because they would have been in the slavers of Egypt, and the pyramid is their root power source. And then they tricked the people in Africa and their old slaves into being their slaves again, and worshiping the pyramid in order to get a few dollars. And this, of course, is their pattern to do things like that, to trick people into making themselves look like dumbasses and shit. And so all that shit lines up perfectly, and it's a fucking 5-piece puzzle, and you've got the picture of what it looks like, you've got an instruction manual, you've got numbers on the back of the 5 pieces of the puzzle, and it's not some complicated 10 billion piece puzzle and shit, unless you want to cut the pieces down and turn it into something greater. It wasn't designed to be that complicated. If it were complicated, it wouldn't have to be hidden in lies and shit. It could just be fucking complicated. But it's just as easy, for me, it's just as easy as looking at the first fucking weirdo fucking terrorist in my life and noticing that all the weirdo terrorists look like that. So, I don't have to make things complex, except for the weirdo terrorist makes it complex, by being like, looks don't matter. You can't judge a book by its cover. It's like, well then, why are you turning into a Jabba the Hutt fucking motherfucker? If you act like one, what the fuck do you mean? Like, you're starting to look like what you are. What the fuck? What do you mean? You look like a slime bag. Is that why you tell me you look like a pedophile? Is that why you tell me looks don't matter? Because you look like a slime bag pedophile and you act like one, and a slime bag pedophile would try to convince me that looking like a slime bag pedophile means you're not a slime bag pedophile? You're part of a pedophile organization who manipulates people with deceptive fucking language. It's pretty much how they exist, right? Like, by the sword has been extinguished, if it ever existed. I think that's their delusion to like make you look away. They're like, these other people killed the world. These savage barbarians used to rule the world, and now good people do. Good people rule the world now. It's all great and peaceful. There's a bunch of drug cartel pedophile trash everywhere, but those are the good people because they don't walk around with hatchets and kill pedophiles and fucking kill fucking manipulators and shit. Kill fucking people and make fucking shows like Jerry Springer. They don't do that. I think that's all they've got is a book of lies to fucking tell people that they aren't what they fucking are and shit. And then it still tells them what they are. It's just like dual-sided wish-washy. It's like, but it's not pedophilia because it's for Scooby-Doo. And it's not homosexuality because it's for Scooby-Doo. And you're like, well, who's Scooby-Doo? And then they're like, well, he's invisible. He's invisible. Okay. Yeah, you can't make this shit up. Oh, this is really what they've been up to. Definitely. I wasn't a fan of invisible fucking Santa Claus fucking when I was born. So that part's not on me. That's on the deformed rat mutant Jabba the Hutt people fucking who I might assume that that's a curse, but at the same time we have the thing where I can stare at certain pictures of people, and those people will appear at my gym or walking down the street or wherever I go if I go somewhere. I think there's too many of them for me to assume that this is like some alien race fucking enslaving the planet versus this is some sort of like general visual novel with slight fucking creation occurring, very slight creation. Because I mean, a lot of things still point to the evil aliens point, like having like their entire species fucking dedicated to me at this point. But You know, you also have the fact that we get to see them hobbled every now and then, and a general slight slope towards progression of fucking creating a better world. Not for the average, but if you know what's going on, you can watch like people get toppled every now and then who would be key players in the system, especially around me. I get to watch. It might be too late, but you know, like the people turning into Jabba the Hutt who are Jabba the Hutts, fucking, who are the Hutts and shit, fucking. That looks like it could be like a, you know, a real slight slope in the right direction and shit. That gains momentum over the years, just as any story gains momentum as the chapters go on. Any story of value. But yeah, I noticed that, like, that the humans, the Americans turn into Hutts more so around that era, and like it's probably just a matter of you do judge books by their covers because the cover tells you what's inside it. That's how you buy CDs. That's how you buy books. You know, if I see some CD with some guy in a tutu bending over giving a blowjob to a child in a tutu, like, I'm not gonna buy it because I know what's inside that CD, and because I know what's inside the mind of the people who make that fucking music. And it's going to be a trash CD. It's going to sound like Mr. Bungle or something. Fucking, it's going to sound like Elvis Presley. And, so I wouldn't buy that, right? You know, just like if a movie had the same fucking cover or a book had the same cover, I wouldn't buy that because I would know what's inside that book or movie, and it wouldn't be something I would want to see. I could be wrong. There could be someone making a joke. It could be like, you know, a trick, like you're selling it, and then you make music telling people to kill themselves with subliminal messages. You know, and you could do something like that. On occasion, there's a trick like that, right? You know, you make a movie with a picture of a man in a tutu having sex with a child on the front, and everyone, you know, and all the people who are like, "Ooh, this looks like a good movie." They watch it, and you put subliminal messages to go kill yourself in it. Like, things like that happen on the planet sometimes, and but I went, you know, all the more reason to try to judge that by its cover, and then not actually watch that movie or read that book. You know what I'm saying? You know, like Lindsey Graham, someone said yesterday, that's a good example of a man in a tutu having sex with a child. Someone said, I guess that was this morning, that was yesterday to other people probably, or that was yesterday to me, fucking, they're like, he doesn't have a kid. He's like an 80-year-old politician without a kid. And it's like, does he even have a wife? Because that's probably a front because he's gay. And he's also a pedophile. And we can tell that because we know what those people look like by now, right? Like, you can tell what pedophiles look like. Like, Jeffrey Epstein is a unique exception of the rule, you know, where someone can afford a hairdresser and an artist. Someone in the crew there has probably directed his wardrobe to look different, or he got smart enough to realize that we have to alter the cover of this book. But then again, putting on this suit, who does that to cover up the pedophiles? The Pope does that. Those people are the originators of trying to cover that up. But usually the facial recognition will identify that you're dealing with a pedophile. Like, Lindsey Graham looks like Jeffrey Dahmer. And, I can't even think of the rest, but generally they all look that way, right? So someone said that, like, we can't even trust him. It's like, what do you mean you can't trust him? He doesn't have kids. Like, that's a good thing he doesn't have kids. He's got someone else's kids in his basement. That's probably why the main reason we shouldn't trust him is because he's probably got someone else's kids in his basement. But they're insulting him for like supporting Israel more than his whole family, and like he spends all his time talking about Israel and the Bible, and instead of having kids. And it's like, well, I mean, he doesn't like women. He doesn't like grown-ups. So that's why he doesn't have a kid. A lot of these people, they're just having, like their book tells them, if they're on that side of the aisle, their book tells them to breed. Some of them aren't having kids because they like women. They're getting with women because they want kids. And not like that. I don't know anyone who wants kids. Maybe I know one person who might have. I think he wanted a family unit, like Hitler wants a family unit. I never heard quite the discussion. Like, I want to have a kid to keep it smart, to have the world's first smart person, or, the world's first super triathlete, something like that. Like the reasons you would think. The only reasons you would think someone would have a kid, something like that, like, cause it's gonna be so fun. We're gonna go fucking, to the amusement park and shit, fucking, yeah. So that's one of those things, fucking, where you do judge books by its covers, cause your kid's about to get fucking raped if you're fucking not intelligent. But if you're not that intelligent that you're gonna let pedos around your kid, you're probably not even around your kid anyways to choose who they go around. So no point in talking about that. But that is quite the opposition to the non-fact that you can't judge a book by its cover. We can see, like, you look at the huts and you can tell anyone. You probably don't want to tell them, but you can tell what they've been doing. You can tell who they are, like 30%. It's like, what does this person do? Nothing. What do they eat? Everything. If you can't judge a book by its cover, then what the fuck? It kind of distorts the obviousness that this stuff really, like, came to fruition. Like, the whole wide people came around that year of the widescreen. But you can't, like, deny that that's a fact, that happened during that time. No other time in human history have we had people the size of Americans. And supposedly that started in, like, the 1950s, when, not from food, but from feeding soldiers drugs. And it wasn't 1950s, it was, that's when they stole that from the Germans. So that was implemented after the 1950s sometime. And that was still there's still TV shows on in the 1980s where cops were like 150-pound people, and but outside that was like, you know, rapidly changing to fucking soldiers on drugs and shit. Fucking. That's another example of you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, that's a drug user, right? You can tell a lot of drug users by what they look like. You can't. You could. That's half the reason you know people outside screaming and yelling and running in circles are fucking on crack or meth. It's because they'll look, you know, like they'll be like 70 pounds or something like that. Fucking, I've only met one fat crackhead. Yeah. So anyway, and then obviously, you know, you got the Rothschild who look like crackheads. You know, have a fucking weird ass fucking alien fucking look to them. But at the same time, if you've seen someone like that, you'd just be like, oh, it's probably a crackhead, fucking. And you wouldn't be wrong either, because like the ones I know, the suspected half of them, maybe half of them, not all of them, the bug-eyed fucking ones generally are the ones with the meth and shit. So it's kind of hard to. Again, you might be wrong about the cover of a movie. If it's got a man in a tutu having sex with a child, you could be wrong about what's inside it. There could be someone making a joke, and there could be someone putting subliminal messages to kill yourselves and something like that. Fucking. But generally, you know, we're going to expect some men on boy action inside, something like that. And you would be right by judging the cover of that movie or CD or book. I know when I look at a movie that has a picture, you know, Pamela Anderson Baywatch, I don't expect to see some men on boy action and men dressing in tutus. I expect to see, you know, Pamela Anderson in a bikini on the beach. I suppose that's what happens in that. Am I correct? Because I don't watch that. But I suppose that I think I skipped through it once. And it actually wasn't like there was a lot of talking and drama, but I mean, they were in bikinis on the beach then, so so I was mostly correct in assuming what that was. Daytime family oriented bikini in the beach show. Family oriented. It made for daytime programming. That's all. Fucking. So I was right. What to expect from that. And all I knew was the cover. I mean, it's real fucking simple. You really only should have to. The only reason you should ever fucking have to argue you can't judge a book by its cover is by a book who doesn't want judged by the cover it's created for itself. Books don't create their own fucking covers, but humans do. So, if you can't judge a book by its cover, why the fuck, if you're lazy and neglectful of your book's cover, would you look like you're lazy and neglectful of it, right? That'd be about the only two people, I think, who might argue that you can't judge a book by its cover. It's people who don't want you to know what's inside the book, and people who are trying to hide what's inside the book. Kind of the same thing, right? People who are ashamed of what's inside the book. I don't know. About it. People are generally, the other one would be people are generally are being manipulative to cover up what's inside all books and shit. Fucking, that's I mean, what would you put on the cover of the Bible if or any religious book, if you're going to create an artwork? Would you like have a man in a tutu having sex with a boy? Would you put a picture of like God like killing people? That one would sell, right? And what would you put a picture of Hitler Sig Heiling on it? Would you put a picture of like people in chains? You know, a bunch of native people somewhere lined up in chains and being taken on the boat by superior people to a better place, to heaven. What would you put? A picture. They want you, in the famous fucking book, the most famous book, they would obviously put a picture of like a man in white robes who is like all smiley and being friendly. Whereas that's like, you know, kind of just like a really tiny portion of the moral of the stories if you add them up. And we're talking about like fucking, we're talking about a hextilogy as well, so we shouldn't ignore the previous and the latter versions of the hextilogy. Although as many times as they've been rewritten, fucking, it really is like a billion trilogy. But the basis of, you know, each book has fucking 79,000 seasons. So I guess you might consider them separate, since they're created for people who are like pretty separate acting. If we avoid looking at the human personality traits are kind of limited to around 7, a pull of 7 for all of them, no matter which culture they come from. Just gives certain people fucking chairs to play with, gives other people computers to play with, gives an illusion that of some sort of advancement. You know, some people have hatchets, some people have guns, and some people have suits, and some people have tiger loincloths. It doesn't actually create like a whole new category of personality traits for any of that. It's still like the same shit. Anyway, yeah, so I was thinking of that since 2020. That's one of the things I've been thinking of is, like, damn, like, shit, like, because, you know, as I watch shit be created around me, sometimes, like the second I watch a whole bunch of shit shift around me, like, I, like, reviewed every second of my life I can remember, and that was part of it. It's like, oh shit, when I got that widescreen TV, that's when, like, the humans started changing into some wide fucking screen shits and stretched out image and fucking. But at the same time, it was already written decades before that slothism and gluttony is a curse. You know, like it's like a choice, but it's like a curse and shit. To make that choice and shit. I can see how other things get in the way. Especially like you following the rat on your shoulder and shit. Things can get in the fucking way. And obviously they're in charge of hoarding all the resources, so that would be following them. Fucking, it looks, it's so acceptable, and it looks inconspicuous They're like they've taught you that you have to eat constantly and shit, but yet the rest of their patterns are they're teaching you shit that you don't have to do and you shouldn't do. So imagine 6,000 years ago when they're teaching fucking these 70-pound people who are hauling bricks to build pyramids. Imagine them convincing those people that they have to eat when they've like, where is it, a bread tree that grows in the middle of the desert or something? Where does food come from? Where does food come from? 6,000, 8,000, 10,000 years ago. Hey, you think there's just so many animals you can't walk? There's dogs and cats and tigers. There's like cities full of them, billions of them, and the humans are outnumbered by them, and they just go in there and chop them up and get some dinner. People didn't fucking eat back then, so someone would have had to convince them that they have to eat. And so someone's in control of food. And look, like food's like a form of slavery, and they use it as such. You know, they got all their tributes and tariffs, and food would be like the original one, like the original drug and shit. There's already taxes on food, and it is similar to a drug, and it's pushed and promoted by the same people who are behind all the other trash, and they also have this thousands of years of history of creating dumb shit, and the only thing I can think for some of it is they're just creating dumb shit to enslave people, to get them to work, you know, like keep them busy, burn their lives off. I mean, they're type of people would create something to burn their fucking lives off and shit. Fucking and to feel good that they have slaves. Like this is the personality trait where we feel good by making it illegal for other people to rape, to have sex with kids, and we're the only people who can do that because we're special. And, you know, we're the only people who can have Joe Biden feel special because, you know, his people are the only people who can have cocaine. And then he uses his great God-given army to kill off everyone on the planet who wants to do cocaine, so he can continue to feel special that he's the only one who can do it. You know, there's this pattern here where these people, this is the only logical thing you can draw from some of their actions, is they're doing shit like that. So I assume, like building pyramids, it's fucking useless. What are we doing? We're just forcing people to do dumb shit so we can laugh at them and make them stupid looking slaves. And so the food thing comes in to continue slavery, where you're like, yeah, you gotta eat, you must eat, you fucking eat. And that's why they can sell shit and then force people to labor fucking 24/7. You know, now you're building pyramids with a purpose, because you must eat, just like you probably must build pyramids back in the day. I don't know if there's anything written, but if I was alive back then and you were building pyramids, I would be like, what are you doing that for? It's stupid. What are you getting out of that? Right? Like, what are you gonna do? What's the whole idea here? This is a advanced supercomputer, or is this just a pile of rocks going absolutely fucking nowhere? And so they have that pattern of just creating trash and shit. And that could be the purpose for the invention of the widescreen there, was because it was pretty trashy when it came out. It was incomplete, and you could tell it was just like it was incomplete trash dumped on the market. And you could tell they knew that too, because a year later they changed it to something new. But then again, that's also their pattern to release bits of trash at a time and then force you to buy something new so you can continue to keep building fucking pyramids, useless fucking pyramids and shit, and they can continue to be fucking low IQ masters of the universe. Fucking. So, yeah. Take from it what you can, but what we can't fucking deny, I think, is the fact that the whole wide people epidemic occurred, really came forth around the year the widescreen epidemic fucking came out, and I can't help but relate that to that. Maybe more of the living, other people are living, and these evil alien bots are just creating that psycho shit to fucking to fuck up our interpretation of reality and shit. But I mean, shit, how many people and things can you change and create before you have to fucking take some fucking responsibility and shit? Which I gladly do, and when I half create someone, I can take, as long as I get an explanation for why there's so many fucking bots around me, and also the explanation for why half creation is a failure, and why I would accept failure when I'm not the failure, and I'm not the person who accepts failures like the Hutts, who don't just accept failure but embrace failure as a lifestyle and a continued pattern for all of history. That's really why, if you're one of the people who've seen all this, seen this shit happen, you shouldn't trust it. What you should do is you should analyze what's going on, and when you see the flaws in it, notice that, was that your design? Did you design that, or did something else? So I wouldn't accept that. You can clearly see the gifts being offered have patterns in my life, and those patterns are the sick DNA traits of the rats on people's shoulders. Generally, like the negative patterns, the unwanted patterns, generally remain consistent. They're fucking homo pedophile shit. People who are accepting of that. People who don't dedicate their lives to fucking getting rid of it. Like that doesn't apply to other people, but the rest of it probably applies to a few people. But to me, it's like, I know my whole life I'm one of the only people who's like, yeah, fuck this empire. And then I'm also one of the only people like, yeah, fuck pedos. And you have everyone agreeing with that in 2020, but I didn't see that in 1980 and shit. Fucking, I had pedophiles warning me about pedophiles. I had people fucking part of pedophile ritual cults doing pedophile rituals fucking warn me about other pedophiles. But then again, everyone I know wants to keep you as their own personal sex toy and doesn't want anyone else to have it. Not everyone. Back in the day, it seemed more like it was everyone. But I guess since like the middle of the 90s, I've experienced 50% of people don't mind if this sex toy is used by other people and shit, fucking. But there's still, that whole other portion who definitely would probably kill you if someone else is using their sex toy, fucking. Lots of people die from that, fucking. So. Lots of people get divorced over that. Fucking, so you can tell that's like a big fucking theme there, right? And it's like that whole personal possession thing fucking applies across the board to a lot of things. But anyways, fucking yeah. So that whole fat people epidemic began to explode around the time the widescreen came out, and I just couldn't help but fucking notice that. I mean, I noticed everything in 2020, fucking that had happened at the same time generally, and then I'm like occasionally seeing shit appear that I focus on or look at pictures of. I know. I was looking at pictures of something fucking 2022 to see if I could create that person. And then I go into a store and a person who looks like that shows up in my city. And they're obviously from another city because for some reason my city has this weird fucking shit. It's like a weird basic fucking. It's like playing an Atari versus fucking PlayStation versus modern PC graphics or some shit like that. Real fucking close. We do have like this recent thing, a band that magically appeared down the street and shit, fucking talking about the shit I'm thinking about while I'm in there. Fucking and doing some cool visuals and shit. Fucking and the females and men who showed up in there were more looking like that way. But again, it's like how many of them the one I talked to fucking I know is not from here. So fucking that's pretty simple. It's I don't know what the fuck. I don't want to insult hillbillies because fucking country people do hard work and shit, and they're intelligent in their own fucking way, even if they can't fucking speak English right. Fucking so calling them hillbillies don't fit the fucking bill and shit. Hillbillies have to take care of real hillbillies have to take care of farms and horses and shit like that. I don't know what the fuck city folk, fucking small time city folk, fucking something like that. There's a fucking gray area in between that they've never discussed. There's big city folk, small city folk, and then country people, and then the fucking tribal people living in the jungle. But there's like fucking something in between there that comes from mixing those things, and like fucking something in between big city folk and country folk. And if you're all positive, fucking if you're high on fucking ecstasy or something, you'll be like, oh well, this would be great, we're gonna get hard workers combined with smart people. And it's like, well, it's not obviously always the result. But we can also chalk that up as these might be the first characters invented in the game and shit. Fucking. So, I mean, that is weird. They have to ship in other people from other fucking cities. Obviously, that still lines up with the evil aliens who are obviously in control of shit. Fucking, But if that's base reality, like it doesn't line up with everything fucking else. It just, you know, them shipping in fucking their own controlled whores versus them having to be created in a zone that's not been fucking created yet, even. Fucking, like, from some of the shit I've seen, like, the ability to fucking swing either way is just as great. It's not like it's not like delusional to choose one or the other and shit. It might be delusional to actually make a solid choice without full fucking evidence, but nothing says it's not happening either of those directions. So anyways, yeah, that's that. And what you can't deny is that shit happened around the time that the widescreen came out and shit. And that's when I started seeing humans all stretched the fuck out and looking like fucking elongated people. Now, I'd already seen a few people like that in life, but not everyone was like that in like the 80s and 90s and shit. Fucking, I knew people like that, but not everyone was like that. Fucking, you can just look at all the TV shows from the 80s. There was not a single person on TV who looked like that. Especially maybe before that. Not sure exactly all the TV shows in the 80s, but all the shit I remember, it was all like 100-pound men and like 90-pound women and shit. Fucking. And then that changed in like the 80s. And of course, every time you look at some, you have like their fingerprints on it and shit. Fucking. And the simple fact that it would have been a TV doing that. You have they own the TV studios and many of the corporations, so they're obviously TV is their thing. Media is their thing. Books, TV, comic books, fucking newspapers, fucking internet, radio. That's been their shit since they invented their first book telling you that they're fucking gods and shit. Or they used to tell you they're gods, and then they changed it to an invisible person as God and said to worship them. So, fucking. Anyways, yeah, so we can prove that shit all changed at that time. And I just can't help. And I had to also correct that error I made. I said only one of the persons transformed to Jabba the Hutt and slothism and gluttony doesn't look like an effective tool. Fucking, whereas, because the rate would have been 1 out of all fucking eternity. Whereas I've rethought that later in the day, and I realized, like, I think everyone at the top of that list, like, evolved to look like a Hutt. Everyone I can think of at the top of that list who was of a certain type, 50% type, evolved to look, who would have been the people I actually let around me and stuff, and instead of just being there while I'm waiting for what I want to magically exist in the world, fucking, or realizing that it doesn't exist and fucking never will. At least in this city, it never did. Fucking, and that's weird to trust people who who magically appear fucking from other cities, and that sounds like I'm a dumbass if I do that. Fucking, which I can't. It's hard for me to actually be a dumbass. Fucking. So yeah, I just figure I'd correct that and then talk about that because that's pretty fucking related to it. Oh, when I see shit or looked at images or whatever, that shit appears around me like that, fucking in the widescreen, definitely came out around that time.